Today we are diving back into the world of lasers. While we are excited to continue bringing you all the updates and reviews for our 3D printers, a while back we promised an update on the Monport GA60 MOPA. Specifically, we'll be showing you all the different items we've marked sourced from Creator Ali and AliExpress. It wasn't all smooth sailing, as you might expect, but you know our motto. We make mistakes so you don't have to. Everything worked out in the end, and our settings and experiences should indeed save you time, materials, and headaches. And the real showstopper? After days of trial and error, we managed to carve our 3D scanned faces into a brass coin, and we'll be showing you the complete procedure. You truly won't want to miss that. And don't worry, our 3D printing content, especially updates to our Sovol and Creality printers, will return in the coming weeks. I'm still Gergo, and we're thrilled to have you at Gergo Print 3D. This is our growing YouTube channel where Levi, my little nephew, and I have a blast with 3D printers. That's about 75% of our content, and laser devices, the other 25%, bringing you practical and just plain fun projects to delight young and old. And as with our 100 plus videos from the past 2 years, I've made sure this one also has curated, translation-ready subtitles and detailed chapter markers for the best viewing experience. You've seen us unbox and set up the GA60 from Monport and then build a safety enclosure in previous videos. We link to those at the end if you need to catch up. With our laser primed and ready, we dove into a whole world of laser blanks from our favorite DIY sources, Creator Ali and AliExpress. These blanks are essentially everyday items, mostly metal, just waiting for a creative touch to transform them into unique, personalized gifts, perfect for loved ones or even as a starting point for a small business. So in this video, you will see us put a GA60 to the test on a wide variety of these items. We're talking high quality bottle openers, pet tags and phone props from Creator Ali, plus pocket knives, compasses, training knife combos, sporks and even electric lighters from AliExpress. With the right customizations, they all make perfect, thoughtful gifts. For everything you see, we'll be sharing the sources, settings, and procedures we painstakingly figured out. And of course, we'll be walking you step by step through that mind-blowing brass coin project, turning 3D scans into tangible art. So, let's get marking. Keychain pocket knife. Alright, first up, let's start with this nifty keychain pocket knife. Now, this little guy has a bit of history with us. If you caught our Creality High combo review, you might remember Levi giving it a rather thorough sharpness test with his finger. So yes, we've certainly established it's sharp. Notice he still has the band-aid on his finger. For the design, since one of Levi's favorite animals is the shark, we're using this cool AI-generated shark clip art. You'll probably see this shark pop up on a few things today. Now for all the materials we're marking in this video, including the stainless steel knife, I've compiled our tested settings into a Lightburn material library. If you'd like a copy, just shoot me an email. You can find the address in our latest post on ko-fi.com and I'll happily send it over. For this particular knife, our stainless steel sweet spot was a speed of 1000 millimeters per second at 45% power. You'll find a great selection of similar pocket knives on AliExpress. This one is ideal for laser marking because of the spacious, large and flat area on both sides. They come in this silver, and there is even a black variant for around $4. Can you believe it? As with many AliExpress finds, you often get free shipping if you order a few. Once you add your custom touch, a name, graphic or branding, you could easily list them on Etsy or at local markets for $20 or more. You'll see Levi take a lead on this one. He set up the shark graphic on one side and his name on the other, right in Lightburn. You see the parameters from our material library there too. Then it's into our newly enclosed GA60. He carefully aligns the knife, closes that safety window. We've got the venting fan running and of course safety glasses on for both of us. Levi hits the foot pedal button on the GA60 and it takes just 2.5 minutes to run through. And when it comes out, it's pretty warm. Whoa! Our trusty thermometer clocked it at 57 degrees Celsius. So yeah, be sure to give it a moment to cool down before handling. Camping Spork. We marked this Camping Spork in a similar manner. It's another inexpensive find on AliExpress. We chose this particular version because it doesn't have any existing markings. Though with so many functions, there isn't a huge amount of space for them either. Still, we were able to squeeze our logo, the shark, and even a cool penguin onto those bigger islands of metal. Now this one is painted metal, so the laser just needs to remove the paint to create the marking. For that, we used our black card small text settings, 75% power, at a relatively high speed. We aligned the 4 marks separately, and each took only a few seconds to engrave. With his name on it, this Spork will no doubt come in handy at Boy Scouts camp this summer. Even if it gets lost, it should find its way back to him. And as with everything else in this video, I provide links to this exact item and any applicable coupon codes in the description below. Compass. And speaking of Boy Scout camp, these compasses were a steal at just $1.50 each, including shipping. Again, it's shiny unpainted metal, aluminum alloy according to the AliExpress listing, and the back is a blank canvas, perfect for any logo or quote you decide to add. Going back to our love for one piece, you might notice the theme on the mouse pad too. This compass is getting the full pirate treatment. We prepared the logo on the big computer in the office, then used the laptop in the printer room to control the engraver. We actually used the same stainless steel settings as with the knife, not initially realizing the material difference. Still, the marking appeared, though it came out white on the aluminum. The glass on the compass fogged up slightly due to the heat generated inside during the process, but it cleared up within a few minutes. This custom marking will surely help identify his compass, even if other kids at camp have similar ones. And honestly, once you get started with a machine like this Monport GA60, it's hard to stop. You start looking at everything wondering, can I laser that? So we might have gone on a bit of a marking spree with a few other items. Yeah, okay, maybe we got a little carried away, but can you blame us? This thing is just too much fun, and the results are so instantly gratifying. It's amazing what you can create, but even with all that power at our fingertips, sometimes the simplest projects like a heartfelt gift can run into the most interesting challenges. Speaking of which, let's talk about this bottle opener for Levi's dad. Bottle opener. If you watched our CO2 laser videos, you might remember creator Ali. They supplied the design for that beautiful Christmas lamp, and the material for the red, white, and green Go set we laser cut out of their painted plywood. They specialize in all kinds of laser engravable materials, including various blanks for metal marking, so we highly recommend looking around on their website. They kindly sent us samples of these high-quality titanium steel pad tags, aluminum mobile phone holders, and these colorful bottle openers. So we decided to prepare one of the bottle openers for Levi's dad as a Father's Day gift, with his favorite sports team logo on one side and a personal note on the other. As you've probably come to expect from us, there were a couple of mishaps, but also as usual, we managed to fix them all. So how did it all go down? First, we picked the color. then downloaded and traced the circular theme logo. We measured the available space on the opener to about 12 millimeters and set the logo size accordingly. We decided to place the logo on the inside of the opener and set our focus for that surface. While the autofocus is convenient, Levi really enjoys using the 2-dot semi-manual focusing option. Then we selected the engraving parameters for anodized aluminum from our ever-growing material library. It was a bit strange that we first had to load the library manually into Lightburn. Usually it shows up automatically for the selected laser. With everything prepared, we attempted to fire up the preview. Click on it. But this is when the confusion started. Although the GA60 has shown as connected in Lightburn, trying to press the start button didn't bring up the preview for Levi. My typical immediate reaction, of course, was to try pressing the same button myself, thinking maybe it would work for me. We power cycled the laser and even closed and reopened Lightburn. Nothing helped, until we realized the wrong laser was selected in the software. A tiny oversight right at the very first step. Not having the material library load automatically should have raised our suspicion earlier, but now we were finally back on track. Levi, click start, and another error message. This one is much more common for us. For safety, we keep the cut selected graphics option enabled, but we often forget to actually select the graphics before hitting start. The preview finally appeared.
This is just a circle.
Yes, the preview often only shows the outline. Levi carefully aligned the bottle opener to center the red laser preview perfectly. He started the actual engraving process, and by the time he looked over to the device, it was already finished in a matter of seconds. We kept the piece in place while checking if the marking was strong enough. We would have been able to repeat the job as long as it wasn't moved, but it turned out perfect. We spent a long time preparing for this 3-second engraving, but you can imagine how much quicker a second item or multiple items of the same type could be mass-produced. The GA60 is relatively generous 175 by 175 millimeter engraving area also provides plenty of space for batch production, as we'll show in a future video customizing many of these spoons in bigger batches. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. For now though, we were working on this single piece ready for the other side, and that's where the real problems began. We measured the length for the text, typed it out, set the size, focused, and aligned the preview. These steps all went quickly this time. The preview, by the way, appears even before you turn the actual laser source on. Now, a crucial tip. Be careful not to start the laser job immediately after turning the laser source on. The machine needs about 15-20 seconds to prepare the laser. If you start too early, any commands sent during these first few seconds might not leave a mark on the material. But this wasn't the mistake we made this time. We waited for the initial loud fan noise to subside. Started, now we change the sound. Yeah. Did you hear? Now the sound is ready. You have your glasses on and you can hit start. A beautiful, strong marking appeared, but oh no! The first few letters didn't engrave. A classic rookie mistake. Notice the engraved plane of the bottle opener isn't perfectly parallel with the laser's focal plane. Engraving strength diminishes quickly if it's off. It wasn't straight. Disappointing? Yes, but not unfixable. I raised the laser head by about 1 millimeter to focus slightly higher, and Levi edited the text to rerun the job with just the missing 4 letters. How bad is it? A little better. We repeated the correction steps one more time.
Okay, I erase the S.
Uh-huh. And I raise it a tiny bit more. Okay.
Okay, and send it again.
Let's try. Oh, we are getting there.
Yeah, that's it. It's good. You better take it out.
You can take it out, yeah, it's done. Okay, so is it that hot, really? What a save. Would you have thought we could recover that? These little bottle openers engrave really beautifully. Just be careful to prop the side if needed to make the surface perfectly parallel with the bed. We could have just redone the whole job on a new piece, but the slightly fainter first letters tell a much more personal story of our best intentions, the mistakes we made, and our refusal to give up. Instead, thinking and working together to bring out the best from a seemingly lost situation. And just look at the tiny fonts and the logo on the underside. This laser has mind-blowingly accurate focus, just like our little team. If you're finding these troubleshooting adventures and marking ideas helpful, please take a moment to hit that like button down below. It really helps the channel out. Coins. And now for what might be the most ambitious project we tackled with the GA60 for this video, 3D engraving faces onto metal coins. This was a journey, let me tell you, with plenty of trial and error, and the results, well, you'll see. We sourced these substantial 40mm diameter, 3.5mm thick, silver-colored achievement coins from AliExpress. They are great value at less than $2 a piece. My first attempts at 3D engraving using some downloaded dog and cat graphics were, well, let's just say they were a learning experience. The initial results were shallow, dark, and messy, so much so that I actually shelved the project for a few weeks. But I couldn't let it go. I came back to it, armed with new settings gleaned from online communities for similar MOPA lasers. To save material, I cleverly divided the other side of that first test coin into 4 quadrants, engraving each with a different set of parameters. This involved some lengthy tests. One corner took 40 minutes, another 75. The key breakthrough was incorporating cleanup cycles, which dramatically improved the finish. The 40-minute test even achieved a depth of about 1.5 millimeters. I also got to test out my new Dremel with brass brushes, both from AliExpress, to polish the final result. Ultimately, I landed on a combination of settings that produced the best balance of depth, detail, and time, though a full coin's face still takes about 2.5 hours to engrave. The next big step was to use our own 3D scanned faces. It's been almost a year since we first 3D scanned Levi. He changes quickly, so we rescanned him now. I then exported his head model, brought it into Blender, my first real adventure with Blender, and figured out how to create a suitable depth map by combining rendered images with depth data. I even digitally added my iconic glasses to my head scan. A bit of Photoshop, polishing and finishing touches, and the graphics were ready for Lightburn. We started with Levi's face on one of the golden colored coins, but it didn't turn that great. I'll have good settings for those eventually, but the final settings for the silver coins are much more established at this point, involving a 45-degree scan angle, 1500 millimeters per second speed, 80% power, 200 nanosecond Q pulses at 50 kilohertz, and a 0.025 millimeter line interval. Crucially, this includes 20 partial cleanup cycles, one after every 20 engraving passes. Those cleanup passes running at 3000 millimeters per second, 30% power, with a 200 nanosecond Q pulse at 80 kilohertz, and a wider 0.1 millimeter line interval work like magic. I also added a final crosshatch cleanup layer. The depth, the shine, the detail, it turned out fantastic. There was a slight alignment issue initially, which I traced back to the red dot preview being just a fraction of a millimeter off from the actual engraving center. A tiny adjustment to the galvo offset in Lightburn fixed that. With that sorted, I engraved my face on the other side. Look at that. Turning a 3D scan into a deeply engraved metal coin is just incredible. Now, there's a ton more detail to this process. The Blender workflow, the nuances of different coin materials, the evolution of the settings, and all the little tricks we learned. It's honestly enough for its own dedicated video. So if you'd be interested in a full deep dive tutorial on 3D coin engraving, from scan to finished metal, let us know in the comments below. For today, I hope this gives you a taste of what's possible. The settings just mentioned for the silver coin are, of course, included in that material library I offered earlier. We got this laser from Monport to enable us to produce review and tutorial videos like this to benefit the DIY community. And a great big thank you goes to the team at Monport for this. If you're thinking about getting a MOPA fiber laser, choosing this exact model will let you do all of these and more, and you won't need to figure everything out for yourself. Use our coupon code GERGO10 on Monport's website to get a discount on top of their already very competitive prices, and you'll be supporting our endeavors at the same time. In previous videos, we took you through the initial setup, built an enclosure, and engraved belt buckles, spice jar lids, titanium handled knives, and various plastics. Continue with those videos in this playlist, or check out our 3D printing content in this one. To boldly go, print 3D. Thank you for sticking with us for another Gergo Print 3D video. And remember, don't ever give up.